Hello and welcome back to the Matrix Green Pill podcast. I'm your host, Hilmarie Hutchison, and today's guest brings unstoppable energy and a unique blend of leadership, storytelling, and sport to every room he steps into. Hernando Planells, better known as Coach H, is a dynamic speaker, culture builder, actor, and sports choreographer who operates at the intersection of performance, purpose, and impact. From the court to the camera, he's coached in the NBA G League, served as an assistant coach at Duke University, and now shapes the next generation as technical director at the NBA Basketball School in the UAE. As impressive as all that is, there's even more. You might have seen him recently as Coach Derek in the hit Netflix series Forever, a global top 10 show with over 3.5 million views. Coach H, welcome, and thank you so much for joining me today.
This is amazing. I think, first of all, you and I should go on the road. I'll have you introduce me all the time because that was amazing.
Fantastic. Well, I'm so happy to have you here today. Let's start off and tell the audience a little bit about your incredible journey. Can you take us back to your early life and how those early beginnings shaped the person that you are today?
I grew up in Los Angeles, California. My father is from Spain. My mom is from the Philippines. They basically raised me in that way. I grew up in strong traditions based on the two different cultures, which are very similar, and grew up with a very strong belief and sort of faith system. And that my mom was always breathing life into me and telling me we could do anything that we put our minds to it. And my mom, by the way, had 10 kids, so I was number 9. So she had a lot of practice telling her other kids that they could do amazing things as well too until she got to me. I just lived sort of like a regular life. I never dreamed of being on TV. I didn't think I was going to be an athlete. I was just living life, to be honest. And over time, you kind of grow. You have different experiences. And growing up in a home with two cultures was just an interesting experience in itself because you get the best of both worlds. And at the same time, sometimes you feel like you're not a part of either of those worlds. Ended up picking up sports and TV work. I got married really young. Had my son when I was 22. My son is now 24. And my daughter's 22, Gabby, so Preston and Gabby. So I think ultimately everything the way I grew up was learning how to be a dad, was learning how to be responsible as a man in front of the family, but then also just how to reinvent yourself over and over again with all the different ups and downs. And I wouldn't even call them failures, even though sometimes they do call them failures, really just opportunities to learn. I think you learn how to reframe things because in life, it's so up and down.
What an interesting background. I love how you say you've come from two different cultures and yet they're very similar. Number 9 out of 10 kids. Wow, your mom was a brave woman. And I love how she was such a good role model for you and set such good expectations for you, being so positive in your life. You've worn so many hats. Coach, choreographer, actor, entrepreneur, dad. What has anchored you through these transitions?
I would have to say being a dad. I think fatherhood for me is because everything I do is all because of them. And what I mean is that I think your kids, you're their hero, right? And so there's a few things like my kids think of me as their hero. At least I hope they still do. And they see this person accomplishing so many things. Yet I'm the person, I'm chasing that version of dad that they see. I always wanted to show them that they can be great as well too. Because as much as we just talked about how my mom would breathe life into me and says I would do great things, I could do great things. The end of the day, as society moves forward, as the rise of social media and everything is more visual, your kids need to see, I don't want to say greatness, but they need to see true character. They need to see someone who's working hard. And they saw that with their mother and I, even though we're divorced, we got divorced 12 years ago. But being a dad has been an anchor. And even to this day, I talk to my kids every single day. It's the reason why I coach. It's the reason why I start in different projects. It's all these different reasons, because if you could show them that you could do it, then they also will believe that they can achieve something as well too. And that's how you continue to build family legacy. I'm not rich. I'm not going to leave my kids a huge estate. But I'm hoping that I could leave with them whenever my time on earth is done, that they can do, and our family as a whole can do great things that can make an impact in society.
At the end of the day, if you've raised good humans, that's far more valuable than all the money in the world. If that is your inspiration, which it clearly is for you, then you're clearly on the right track. I also noticed on your social media that your kids are very much part of your life. And I noticed you're trying to teach them the Filipino culture.
Yes, we had a show called Paano to Pinoy that was on the Filipino channel and on YouTube. Yeah, I did.
That's excellent that you're helping them to still stay in touch with their roots, even though they're not growing up in that environment, but they don't forget who they are. I think that's excellent.
It's been fun because as they get older, they want to learn where they come from as well too. I never was big on forcing things down their throat on this is who we are, this is character-wise and human-wise, yes. But over time, they start wanting to know who they are and where they come from.
Before we get into what you're doing in your coaching, we have to talk about your role as Coach Derek on Forever. What was that like? What does it feel like to be part of a Netflix top 10 global show?
It's an honor, first of all. I did not ever think that I would act or be on a Netflix show. I always joke around that I excel behind the camera, not in front of the camera. You know, I had this opportunity, a production company that I co-own and help run called Game Changing Films. We do a lot of sports on all different productions, and we happen to be doing the basketball on that show. And they submitted me to be a coach, and they looked at all my social media, and it was a blessing. I didn't have to audition. They saw my social media. They saw how open I was and all these different things, and they casted me. And to be on a coach on a show is interesting because as a coach, even though I coach, I walk around, talk with my hands. I'm very active. In the world of television, the world of film, you say your lines without moving. Like usually you just stand still. There's a scene, the very first scene where they show my character. It's during practice. We had to shoot that 3, 4, 5 times because I had to get comfortable saying my lines without moving, without doing coaching gestures. That was challenging, but it was great fun. The actors, the director, it's a Regina King production. It's a remake of a Judy Blume book. So it was just an honor to be in it and just be a part of that family.
Lovely to get a little bit of behind the scenes of a movie set in view from you. I saw a video where you said on the first take of that coaching on the side of the court scene, you just went blank. And then you had to do it all over again.
I did. As soon as the camera rose right to my face, I said, I'm sorry, guys. I forgot everything that I had. I forgot all my lines. It was the very first take of the day. And I was like, this is not a great start to my acting career for sure.
It's great. I love how honest and open you are, that you even share those moments because that makes you real and authentic. I think it's brilliant. Now, let's get a bit to the more serious side, maybe. You've coached in the NBA G League at Duke and now mentor athletes in the UAE. What's been the biggest leadership lessons across those environments?
The biggest leadership lesson is that we lead and we teach the way we were led and taught. But leadership is more fluid than ever. Now, that doesn't mean you don't stick to your standards or you veer off from your mission. It just means that now there is not a one size fits all to be a leader. When you're a leader, that means you're a great listener, means you have empathy. It means you have understanding. You still have to make the tough decisions, but it's no longer a world where you have to rule with an iron fist. You have to make, again, the tough decision I said earlier, but that would probably be my biggest lessons. When you love your people more, when you care for them and you think of them first, then everything changes. I like to have an environment, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, where we're a family. Like every strong team, every strong culture would say we're a family. Well, in families fight all the time. Families have conflict all the time. The issue we have is when it comes to the workplace or teams, when there's conflict, people then shy away from each other. The reality is conflict, if handled, if dealt in the best way, is the opportunity to get closer together, to bridge new gaps, to bring them all together so that you can accomplish the centralized mission that you're trying to do. And again, this is like this whether you're married, you have a strong family life, whether you're dating someone, whether you are a CEO of large corporations, whether you're a head coach of a team of 10. When you have those little nuggets, then all of a sudden your team starts to transform. And now you're really leading because you're in the trenches with your people.
That's such excellent insight. When it comes to work, we want to tend to shy away from conflict. But as you say, it's far healthier in any relationship, especially in the workplace, that we view that conflict as an opportunity to grow and to get closer together. I think that's really excellent. When did you realize that coaching was about more than just winning, that it could be a platform for connection and transformation?
I got into coaching, number one, because I thought it was really cool to stand on the sidelines with a suit and yelling at everybody. Like, I thought that what coaching was. I joke around in my coaching career. My 20s, I was a yeller and a screamer. 30s, I was calming down a little bit. And now in my 40s, my son calls me this super Zen coach who is calm almost all the time. And I think you transform over time because you start understanding that your people, your players, your employees, whoever they are, they're your people. You have been chosen to take care of them in many ways. And when I say take care of them, there's different ways to look at it. But you're for lack of a better word, the chosen one in that scenario. And your role is to take care of them. Now, it took me a long time to understand that. I always thought it was about winning. And when you're in sports coaching, you're high level sports coaching. So I was with the Boston Celtics and NBA G League. Duke is one of the top universities and college programs in the world. Winning is the priority. But how do you win and also help character and help them grow as people and show them love while also making sure they do all the things that they're supposed to do? It's this fine line. It's this dance that you have to do so that you can always, or at least try to always be, which is really, really difficult, to understand and be where they are. Because your job as a leader is to inspire them to get to a place where you envision them to be. And sometimes that means pushing, that means pulling, that means it's tough love. That means it's meetings. It's constantly sharing with them that you believe in them, that you have faith in them, you see hope in them. And now here's the roadway to execute that. And we're going to do it together. And again, I say this in such a calm way now. Listen, when I was in my 20s, that is not the conversation I was having, right? The 30s, I was not having that conversation. I had a temper. I would get upset about the smallest things. And a lot of it is because I wasn't confident in myself. I wasn't even confident in my leadership strategies and how to handle people. I felt like I was being second guessed. Those are the parts where I take a look at it. Like, those were the opportunities where I was able to grow. And yeah, do I wish I could have been better in certain ways? Yeah, I wish I was a better dad than my son and daughter when they were younger, because I was super young when I had kids. So I wasn't even parenting them in a way where I would parent them now. So it's part of the evolution of coaching and growing and just becoming better.
Through your own transformation from being somebody with a temper and shouting into what you call now the super Zen coach, that also helped you in the way that you lead others. And I think that's for everybody, right? As we grow, as we age, we start to see things differently. Different things matter. Our priorities change. We do view things different. And as you also mentioned, maybe the confidence in yourself grows, so you can be a bit calmer, a bit quieter, and make a bigger impact than when you're having to shout and lose your cool with people. You've worked with elite athletes, NBA, WNBA stars. What separates a good player from a great one?
There's different variety of them. And it's the same thing. I've worked with athletes, and then in the film career, I've worked with a lot of great actors as well, too, where they all have the same mindset. And the mindset is, how am I going to get this done at the greatest, highest level as possible? And on top of that, doing that with all my other responsibilities. So meaning whether it's school, whether it's family, whatever else it is. And they've had the ability to zone in. Like, if I have to do this job for 2, 3, 4 hours, I'm zoned in, I'm focused, I don't have any distractions whatsoever. That's on the technical side. They keep themselves in the best possible shape, I think, physically, and then comes the mental part of it. Again, I don't think there's this one secret that you go online and, it's the hook on Instagram. It's like, this is the one secret that superstars don't want you to know about. There isn't one secret, just like there isn't one morning routine that gets you going or one thing. It's what fits you and how can I then excel at that way. So the athletes kept themselves in great physical shape. They were coachable, they were aggressive, they were courage, and they had confidence. Okay. They had those 5 things. The other side, though, is the mental part of it. They have this belief that is surrounded by fear. What do I mean by that? It means that every time I believe in something, I believe that I'm the best player in the world. I believe I'm going to score 30 points. When I say that belief, there's also a fear that is circling around it. And it's up to you as the individual. Are you going to allow that fear to bite you? Or are you going to keep making that belief stronger and stronger and stronger? Dare I even say sometimes that belief has to be a bit delusional in order for you to achieve what you want to achieve, right? So for me personally, as I mentioned, I have struggled a long time. I've had different ups and downs, and you just reinvent yourself. Like it's never too late to reinvent yourself. It is never too late to take action on something. And that takes belief. Put one foot in front of the other and make things happen. But we as people forget is that the fear overwhelms us. And once we have one little fear, it grows. This fear is person made. Okay. You are born with only a few fears. Okay. Two fears that you are born with is the fear of falling and the fear of loud noises. Okay. So when you look at a baby, those are two things that they have fear. Everything else that you are scared in your life is all what has happened experience wise. And so once we train ourselves and push ourselves, then we have a better opportunity to get around those fears and start excelling and performing at a high level.
Really interesting. Being zoned in, being focused in the moment, coachable, very key, but also belief in themselves is so important. And you mentioned belief that is surrounded by fear. So it's okay to have the fear, but to let that drive you, to let that push you, and not to let that cripple you, that you don't act. I love how you also said that there's not one secret. Don't think there's a secret formula out there. Each one is different and they approach things differently, but they have these key elements in them that make them great. Let's talk about failure and faith. Two words that you're not afraid to embrace. How have they shown up in your journey?
They show up all the time. And I think my faith has gotten stronger because of those failures. I also have a belief that right in life you have the highs and lows. And we have the power as individuals to make those highs super high or make those lows super low and make those lows even longer than what they should. When you win, you have 24 hours to celebrate. When you lose or not successful, you have 12 hours to dwell on it. And I got married young. My parents weren't too happy about that stuff. That I actually got married because my ex-wife was pregnant with our son, was 6 months pregnant with Preston. And I thought at that age, I was like, you know what? I could conquer the world. No problem. I'm just going to get a job. I'm going to be coaching. It'll be fine. We'll be fine. And I didn't know what I was getting myself into. And I wasn't the best partner at all. You know, I'm trying to juggle so many different things. I didn't even know who I was as a person. It would just feel like I was failing left and right. I couldn't pay bills. I forgot appointments. It wasn't being very consistent on my jobs when I wasn't coaching. I had 10 other jobs besides coaching in order to keep my dreams alive and everything else. But, I got divorced. I lost jobs. Man, the list can go on and on and on. There was always something knowing that it could change in a heartbeat. I suffered what a lot of people do now. They believe that when something good is happening, this big, huge, miraculous, firework that shows up and then all of a sudden the world is saved. That's not the way life works. Right? Life works in little moments that once you put them together becomes the big moment. I always just believe like, okay, well, this doesn't feel good right now. I failed horrendously, but what can I grow from it? How can I get better? And this is not life or death. So what do I need to do? So that's where the faith grew from. And I got the faith from my parents. My mom is a big Bible person, would always, recite different things. And, growing up, yeah, okay. And you just start seeing different things. You're like, you know what? Just waking up is the greatest thing on earth. Just being able to get out of bed, that's the greatest thing in the world. And when you start being grateful for all those things, that's when true faith shows up. Because now you're not taking anything for granted. Now, can I say now, at my age and every single day, am I celebrating everything? No, I'm constantly working on it because the human mind is there to remind you what you don't have, what you didn't get, what could go wrong. And so you have to continually feed yourself faith. You need to feed yourself hope and belief and trust and courage in order for you to do it. I think that's one part. The other part is that I did not sit waiting for good things to happen. You have got to make things happen. You have got to reach out to people. You have got to be the one that is looking to get yourself better. Find out what aren't you good at, push it forward. And that's where your faith comes in, because now you're taking ownership and responsibility of yourself. And then you're like, oh, you know what? Just by the sheer action, good things are happening. Good things are happening, which will lead to only better things. But as I remind everybody, there is momentum in life. Momentum in life could go up and it could go down. But sometimes there are momentum interrupters that are purposely put there to see how you will react. And like, oh wow, so something's going well for me, and then how some people say things are going well. That means somewhere it's going to go downhill. Well, you're just setting yourself up for failure. Ride the wave, something will happen, and I'm ride the wave again. It's that constant birthing, taking a look at yourself, having faith, all that stuff to move forward with it. You could either spiral down or spiral up. I choose to spiral up every single day. And some days I do great, and some days it's a little struggle, but that's okay.
It's never perfect, but some really excellent insights. I love how you say that life is made up of little moments that together makes the big picture, which is a big moment. To reframe our situation, it's not life or death, then look at what's positive. And like you say, just to be able to get out of bed that day is a positive in itself. Don't sit around waiting for good things to happen. Go after it yourself. But I absolutely love that you said, when you win, you've got 24 hours to celebrate. But when you fail, you've only got 12 hours to dwell on it, and then you get up and do something about it.
Yeah, I like to share just one story, which I think is really important here, is that one of the things that I had is when I got divorced, I was living in North Carolina, which is the East Coast of the United States. And my ex-wife moved with the kids to California without telling me. And so there was a lot of court litigations and all these different things. And so my kids were 3,000 miles away. For those who don't know what miles are, I can't do the conversion for you. I apologize in advance. It was a long way. And there were many times that I was away from my kids. I was away from my kids for 8 years. When I say away, meaning I did not live with them consistently. I fly once or twice a month to see them, constant phone calls. And there were times, many times, that I did not feel like I was a good dad at all. And that I thought it'd be better that maybe I shouldn't call them as much. They're in their own lives. They're enjoying themselves. They're with their mom. Maybe I shouldn't try to be around as much. And, I felt sorry for myself for a little bit. And because I missed them like crazy, I would cry so much. I lost so much weight. I said, no, this is not, number one, the dad that I want to be. And it's not the example I want to be. I made the effort to call them. I would set my alarm because it was a 3-hour time difference. I'd set my alarm so I can call them. I have reminders, even on my phone to this day. I get a reminder at 7:00 in the morning to send my kids encouraging words. I had to train myself to do all that stuff. And it was after failing. But I had faith that I could be a great dad and I could show them, continually be a great dad and be there for them. It took so much time. And then COVID hit, and my son was very upset at me for a long time. And when COVID hit, I was living in Virginia. He was already in college. He came to visit me. I was working on a TV show. He was going to be an extra on a TV show. He was going to stay for a week. And that week turned into 8 months because of COVID. And it was the first time in 7 or 8 years that he had lived with me. And it was a great eye-opening experience to me that no matter what happened before, when you have faith and you keep moving forward and take steps forward, great things always happen. And they're great things you never expected.
I love that. Your experiences is what has created you who you are today. You were the one who, as you said, recognized your own failures, recognized that you were feeling sorry for yourself during a very difficult time in your life. But then again, then you got up and you said, okay, what am I going to do about this? Set that alarm, reach out to them, be in contact. I absolutely love that. Excellent. Moving from the US to the UAE is a big leap. What inspired the move, and how are you finding the culture and the community here?
I was working on a TV show called Running Point, starring Kate Hudson. I had been a finalist for jobs in the NBA a few years prior. And so I'm working on the show, and I get this email about this opportunity with the NBA basketball school. Would I be interested in talking about their technical director job? And I said, yes, I 100% would. But what does a technical director do? I don't even know what that position is. A conversation and talked about it. And a few days later, I didn't know if I really wanted to do it and move again to another country. I've lived in 2 other countries before that. And then they said Dubai. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Dubai is a place that I've obviously heard about and everything else, and wanted to explore more about it. So the more conversations I had with the NBA and with Strike Sports here in Dubai, I became more and more excited. And then one day I said, all right, let's do it. I mean, I got so excited. I didn't even negotiate my contract. I didn't do anything. I just said, let's go live an adventure, right? Because if I really believe that you have one life, if I really believe that you got to live life to the fullest as much as you possibly can based on where you are in life at the moment, then why wouldn't I jump at an opportunity to go to another part of the world, to live in another culture and really experience different things? So about a year ago, I moved here and I fly back and forth a decent amount of time because of the businesses and family and everything else. But I love Dubai. I tell everybody, Dubai is almost like a fantasy land just because of all the different things that are here and the services and the people. There are so many different opportunities here. It reminds me of big places in the States like LA, New York. I think the biggest difference for me is that in LA, New York, all the cultures mix together. Here, the cultures mix, but not as much. Everybody stay sort of in their own silo at times, which I understand as well too. So I think there's like different feelings that come from it. So I try and visit every food restaurant, try to visit different cultures, because for me, that's how I've experienced life. I experienced by eating other cultures' foods and just having conversations with people that are just there and learning about them and everything else. I love Dubai. I think Dubai is an amazing place. It's somewhere that I'd love to continue to grow.
It sure is. It is fantastic. And as you say, there's just so many cultures here, so much good food. There's a lot to experience. It is fantastic. And I love your attitude. You have one life, you're going to live it to the fullest. And I think also through that, you're setting a fantastic example. You're being a great role model for your children. Just as your mom was a good role model for you, she taught you some really good life lessons. I think by taking on this challenge and making the most of it, it turned out to be a great experience for you.
Yes.
So what's next for you? Are there any exciting projects or personal missions that you're looking forward to?
Besides the work with the NBA basketball school, which is amazing, we have over 400 players and so many coaches. I love making or being a part of their life and impactful life with everything. So that's one part. And of course, as you have mentioned, I do so many different things. The NBA basketball school, we have the production company. A couple other productions are going to start up here soon. Running Point Season 2 is going to start filming in a month or two. We have a couple other film projects and possibly a documentary here if it gets greenlit in this country. And then, I do a lot of different leadership workshops. I just did one with Mercedes and Daimler. And I think all those things are great. And those are things that I love to do. One thing that I'm really trying to make an emphasis on is all these things and everything looks great on paper. How am I growing my schedule? How am I handling being in a new country? Because when you move to a new country, it's super exciting, but it's also very lonely as well, too. I wish I could say that I've got all these exciting things happening. I just really think that every single day is, with the different projects and the different phone calls and all the different opportunities that are there. So it's sometimes the most exciting thing is when I sit in silence at about like 9 o'clock at night as I'm winding down my day. Sometimes those are my most exciting moments.
Yes, you certainly have a busy life. There's so many things that you're doing, so many things happening. But I love how you challenge yourself to grow, asking yourself, how am I growing? What am I doing? Especially when you're in a new country, learning new cultures, learning new things. That's really excellent. Now we've come to the segment of our show where I will ask you some rapid fire questions, our version of a game show. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Your favorite sports movie of all time?
Coach Carter.
One word that describes your coaching style?
Transformational.
A morning routine must have?
My workout and vitamins.
A film or series you'd love to choreograph next?
I would like to choreograph any team sport that originated or comes from a small country that is not the United States, somewhere where it's like it grew and got bigger and bigger and it's like its national pastime.
Well, thank you for playing along. That was easy enough. I've got one last question, and I think I know the answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What is one thing you do every day, no matter how busy you get?
I call my kids.
Now I'd like to ask you our signature green pill question. Could you share an inspiring or life-changing experience that you've gone through, your green pill moment?
I love this question and I love the name of the podcast. It's amazing because it's actually one of my favorite movies. But I don't believe there's one green pill moment. So I got married young and I was married for 12 years. And I really believed in those 12, well, maybe 10 years, like this is the way marriage was supposed to be. It was supposed to be mundane, filled with arguments and disagreements, supposed to always do different things. And basically, it wasn't what I think I was taught of what that's the way marriage is. And you stay no matter what. And I think the green pill moment started when the kids were born. And then the journey of the 10 to 12 years when I was married, learning about myself and understanding life and understanding what needs to be done. And then it became to how do I want my kids to view what healthy relationships are? How do I want my kids to view what a strong mom and what a strong dad is? And so that my green pill moment was when I got divorced because it's the hardest decision to make. Some would argue it's an easy decision, but it's a hard decision when you're the one choosing to say goodbye. You're the one choosing to move. You're the one choosing to basically mess everything up. When I did that, I was sad, broken, but the reality is everything was clearer, meaning, okay, I have done this part. Now, what do I need to do to heal, to get better, to grow, to understand all these things I didn't do before because I was angry, upset, and not in a good place. So I don't know if I could answer that there's one green pill moment. I think it's been a series of dosages of green pills for me to see clearly who I am, even though I'm still trying to find me. Dosages of green pill of knowing what kind of dad and professional and man I really want to be over the course of my life. So I'd say it's a variety of so many dosages of the green pill.
Well, thank you so much for sharing such a personal experience with us. And as you said, once you made that very difficult decision, then things became clearer for you, and then you've grown from there, and you're still growing. And I think that's a good lesson for all of us. Sometimes we have to make difficult decisions, but we don't stop there. We then challenge ourselves. We find ways to grow because while we're breathing, there's room for growth, there's room to learn, there's room to still go places. And I love your very positive take on this and your positive outlook, and that you're sharing that message through your coaching, through your leadership. Thank you so much for being here today. Your journey from coaching courtside, commanding the screen, is not only inspiring, but a masterclass in resilience, reinvention, and real leadership.
Thank you for having me. It's been an honor and a joy to have this great conversation with you. And I appreciate all the work you do. Thank you so much.
Before we wrap up, where can our listeners connect with you and follow your latest work?
On Instagram, Coach HP Jr. It's pretty much, you'll find my Instagram and TikTok. And the other part, if you don't remember Coach HP Jr., you could just type in Hernando, basketball. And I'm pretty sure I'm the only Hernando in the world in basketball. You'll find all that information. And through there, just reach out to me. And I'm all about helping people get to a place where they'd like to be in their own life with their own questions and hopefully just work through it all together.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Yes, you are pretty easy to find online. So that is excellent. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Matrix Green Pill podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. We'd really appreciate that. Until next time, keep dreaming big and creating unforgettable experiences.
If you enjoy our conversations, please like and subscribe. See you next Wednesday.